Whoa! It's the Illusion reporting from somewhere on Spaceship Earth. I sure hope that snake isn't still up underneath my car because I gotta leave for work and I'd hate to hurt a snake, man. But hey, maybe it'll be smart enough just to stay during the ride and then get out when I stop. Or it's going to be one of those classic moments where I'm jamming down the freeway at full speed and a snake like comes out of the dashboard and I spin out of control on the freeway and do somersaults in the air. I don't know. I do not know. But anyway, I was tripping, man, just about like the gardening and just the bugs attacking all the things and just the amount of like defensive measures you have to take to like eat some vegetables from a garden. I mean, between the squirrels and the gophers and the aphids and the pincher bugs, it's full on warfare, right? And so the other day I came back and my radishes had been chowed, right? Because I seem to have turned the corner on my cucumbers. They've gotten big enough where they're sort of taking off, and the peppers seem to be doing okay, but I came back and my cucumbers were munched. And my little lettuce, I'm growing some red lettuce, and the little sprouts had been nibbled on, and one of my broccolis had just been chowed to death. And I got super bummed for a minute. I was like, I'm just throwing the towel in on this, of course, the defeatist attitude. I'm just, blah, 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 blah. And, I regrouped and I was like, all right, man, you just got to keep pushing through, right? You got to keep pushing through and figuring it out, right? Just keep figuring out what it is that's going to do well for, garden, man. What's gonna survive these bugs and stuff? And then, I did a step back and I was like, wow, it must be so radical when farming is your sole way you sustain yourself and you have an infestation and your crop gets wiped out. Radical, right? Because I'm doing it on a small scale, and yet, I can go down to the market and buy some organic vegetables. Like, I'm not, sort of a hobby, right? And I kind of had this moment where, like, I had empathy for farmers and stuff who use all this crazy pesticides and fertilizers on their giant livelihoods, man. And I go, I get it, man. If the livelihood of your reality was suddenly threatened by some crazy bug, would I not spray the Roundup on it? I think that's more of a weed thing, but you get where I'm going. And I was like, wow, man, that's got to be some radical decisions. And I was like, how do these giant organic farms pull it off? Are they really pulling it off? Like, or are they, like, it just took me down this rabbit hole of what is really going on with the food supply and how hard it is, man. It's not, it's a daily thing. I go out there every day and tinker around in my garden, and it's super small, and it gets you bummed when you see something getting under attack, and you're looking at making sure your things are doing okay. Like, I got some of the flowers falling off my pepper plants, and thank good God there's the internet where you can just go type in flowers falling off of pepper plants, and you'll get 100 different answers or 100 ways to get an answer for that, and you can make proactive measures. But still, it's a full-on thing. And it's just that again, I guess I'd made a video about it, is like, yeah, that's one of the things as us as a society haven't really realized is we're fully responsible for our food supply by not making our attempt to grow our own food. And when we do, we realize how hard it is and how many variables there are to growing your own food. And that, a lot of these bad decisions that are being made on an industrial level directly come from us as individuals not knowing what the heck's going on because we're not participating in it. And I get it, man. A lot of people have committed to the city and, but I still think you can have a planter box outside your window and grow some herbs or grow a hanging tomato plant and the whole thing. But that's where I go to this thing where there's a lot of people pointing the fingers, right? They say when you're pointing the finger at something, there's three fingers pointing back at you, right? So that's kind of radical, and I think that's where we sort of are as a society, is especially the people who want to fix it, is we've yet to realize it's not over there, it's right here. The problem lies in our actions, and as does the solution. And it's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do. It's time consuming. It's got ups and downs. Like, I was truly bummed last night when I saw my radishes had been mowed, like chowed. I was like, what a drag, man. And yeah, I got back up in there, keep paddling, right? Just don't be a quitter. And yet, I don't think we have enough empathy for like the larger scale of what's going on, until we grow our own food in our own backyards, man, the carbon footprint, if you want to get into that whole concept, is enormous on a head of lettuce. I mean, you think about the 18-wheelers and all the petroleum-based products that go into the fertilizers and pesticides. And granted, even if it's organic, it has a carbon footprint in it. Someone had to drive it to get to you. And if it's wrapped in plastic on any level, there's more petroleum-based products. So unless you're pulling it out of your backyard, I don't know. Is it truly organic? Or is it just diffused organics? Like, I trip out on that concept a lot. I'm a big Trader Joe's shopper, right? And we'll get the organic mixed greens and stuff, and it'll come in a bag. And I'll be like, there's that bag made out of petroleum products. And it took a truck for it to get here, and I drove a car to get here, and I don't know, man. And so here I am up in my own garden, and I go, yeah, the carbon footprint chain has been reduced exponentially, and yet it's hard to grow that head of lettuce. It's not easy to grow a head of lettuce, man, because when you factor in the bugs, it's one thing if you just planted the seed in the ground and it grew and all you had to do is squirt some water on it and everything's fine. No, that's not how it works. There's all sorts of like critters going on, man, that are doing their thing. That are like, hey, bro, this guy's growing us a bunch of food. Look at this. What, you think the squirrels like, oh, shucks, I'm going to stay away from this dude's garden? The squirrel's like, bro, harvest! Ah! It jumps in there, so I got to wrap all that stuff in like chicken wire, right? Chicken wire. Where's the chicken wire coming from? I have done things where we're big into composting. I've generated a lot of my own soil. I've used, all my planter boxes have come from recycled materials. I reuse all my chicken wire. Last year at the end, I rolled it all up and saved it all and kept it out of the rain so it didn't rust. We do what we can, man. And I think that's a lot of what's going on. It's about our intent. I firmly believe that our intent is a true factor in the solution. If we are truly intending to do positive, then we are doing positive. But if we're sitting around not doing anything, I think we're doing negative. right? Like, I think, what's that old lyric from the Rush song? To not make a choice is to make a choice. To not do anything about being positive, to me, is the exact opposite of being positive. So that's being negative. And it's about getting off the couch, turning off the television, and going. For me, like, that is my new thing, is to go sit and hang out in the garden and mess around and try to figure it out, man. It's become its own new hobby / way of life. It's a very cool vibe, and I recommend it for everybody, whether it's just getting one pot in front of your doorstep and growing some herbs, man. I had fresh mint in my tea last night that I grew. I grew this chocolate mint. Tasty. Very nice. Anyway, I just thinking about the small scale, big scale, internal, out, external issue of being a human being on Spaceship Earth. This is the illusion. Keep the frequency positive. Get your hands into the soil.